everyone, and welcome back to the channel for today's video. So in today's video I am going to be decorating with the two new camper vans that we got in the premium shop this week. They come as a house skin bundle, so these obviously can be equipped to your actual house in game and also can be used on your floating islands and all your different valleys and maps and everything. So I wanted to create a beach style campsite with these because I felt like they just fit so much into like the beach theme. You could definitely utilize these in other biomes, but I decided to go for that. So as you can see, I'm up on the Dazzle Beach floating island, and we are going to be creating a big beach kind of camping setup. I also include a bunch of other premium shop houses and buildings, as well as different areas that you'll see as we go through. It's not going to cover the whole island, but pretty much 3/4 of it gets covered with this. So I wanted to give it a try and see how it looks before I integrate it into my actual valley. So let's get started. So as you can see, to start off with, I've placed down the different house skins I'm going to be using, as well as a bunch of furniture over in the corner there that I knew I'd want to use. So I started by adding in the two camper vans, as well as Buzz's RV, because I feel like it just goes so well with that same kind of style and theme of the kind of camping vehicles. I also added in the Stitch kind of island cafe house that we got in the Stitch bundle that's still in the premium shop now. And I also added in a beach house that we've had in the premium shop before, which has got a really cute wicker roof and goes with some of the new buildings we've got as well. So as you can see, I'm starting off with adding in the buildings, as well as the bigger furniture items such as the tents and some of the stools and tables and stuff like that. I wanted to get these bigger items mapped in first because obviously this is such a big space, and I feel like sometimes, I don't know if it's just me, but when I'm doing builds in a space this big, I feel like I have to use these bigger items to kind of map out where I'm going to put all these different sections, figure out where they're going to go, make sure they're not feeling too cluttered and too close together, and generally just kind of figure out placement for them. So I find it really beneficial to get all my furniture out ready, kind of pop it in a corner that I know it's not going to be in the way, and then start with the bigger stuff and then work my way down to the smaller stuff, and then obviously figure out the more main core areas that I know I want to include. So for example, in this, I obviously wanted to make sure I had the campsite area with the cars. I wanted to have a beach kind of hut area with the more rustic wicker buildings, and then I also wanted to obviously have the tent / campsite area. So this has helped me kind of map that out and start mapping in the pathway as well. Now once I'd mapped in kind of these main core areas, it meant that I could start doing some of the foliage. I do this all the way throughout the video, and kind of give a background to these buildings. Obviously, as this is on a floating island, we haven't got kind of the cliff walls that we do in our actual Dazzle Beach, so I wanted to obviously use foliage to kind of block out the background just so it wasn't feeling too open and empty. So I started with adding a bunch of the different color palm trees, as well as adding in some of the desert trees from Eternity Isle, because I just love how they look on the beach. Obviously, I don't want to use too many trees and too many plants because I don't want it to kind of look a bit strange on the sand and take away from the beachy vibes, but I do add quite a bit to the background just to obviously block those areas out and fill them in. If you were doing this on your actual Dazzle Beach or even on the floating island, you wanted to kind of not have it be this overgrown, you could definitely obviously use a limited amount of trees and foliage compared to what I use. But as you'll see as I go forward, I just like to kind of have the background completely blocked out so that it does have more of a tropical theme to it. Now, as you can see around the back of the camper vans, I decided to add in an actual like beach area with some of the sun loungers and things like that. And then next to the island cafe, I decided to use some of the Neverland river kit to create a little mini makeshift river in here. It's more of a lake, to be honest, but I just couldn't help but use this kit. I feel like it's going to end up in so many of my builds going forward, so do get used to seeing me use this, because I think it's probably going to become a kind of staple in my builds going forward, depending on the theme. But I felt like for this one it worked, go with that kind of tropical foliage theme I was going for. It helped block out this big space, and it also, I just felt, worked with the camping theme of obviously having a lake to go out and kind of have fun in and explore and all that kind of stuff. Obviously it's not as big as it would be probably in real life, but obviously I didn't want to take up too much space with it. But as you can see, I'm going to add some foliage behind to blend it in a little bit more, make it look a little bit less odd in the build, but integrate it a little bit better. But I just couldn't help but use this in here. Now, once I've worked on the main kind of decoration of this lake area, as well as the sun lounger kind of set up next to it, I then wanted to add some lighting and some decoration around where the tables are in front of the cafe. I do add food to these tables throughout the build. I don't have it on camera, just because it didn't really seem like you could kind of put whatever food you wanted to on here. I didn't feel like it was something that you guys had to obviously feel like you had to do the same food as me, but I just went for a bunch of like beachy food. So I went for cold drinks, ice creams, as well as on the campsite I add more of like camping barbecue food, just to keep it in theme. I like using food in the game as a way to kind of fit into the decoration, fit into the theme, and really kind of build character around those areas. So you will see them in the final kind of walkthrough and shots of the video. But obviously I just wanted to say, if you see food randomly appear on tables, I have obviously done that off camera just to obviously save time in the video. But I obviously went in and did that, and then I started working more on the campsite area, figuring out which items I wanted to use around this main bonfire. And obviously I've got the big screen for people to sit and watch and enjoy things together, and also started decorating with those other furniture pieces around the tents as well. As you can see, for final touches in the build, I'm obviously adding a ton of beach grass all around these hidden back areas, because the beach grass, one of them, there's like a wider one and then a shorter one. One of them actually does clip with some furniture objects. You kind of have to figure out the hitbox of it, but that is something to note, that you can kind of overlap this beach grass with some furniture, which makes it look a lot more natural and obviously doesn't take up as much space in your build. So I find that a really good thing to do to kind of help with that. As well as that, I added in some final other foliage items. As I said before, there was some stuff I did off camera. One thing I did do was add a couple of little light decorations into the lake area that I did off camera, just so you are aware, but it obviously doesn't change anything from the build or what you saw on camera. But I think that was everything that I did off camera, because it did start to rain towards the end of the build, so I did have to do my final tweaks and changes off camera. But for the most part, everything you see in the walkthrough coming up soon is exactly what you will see me do in the speed build. Now here is the final build. As you can see, we are starting outside of the Stitch tea house, and first off on the left we have obviously got our lounge chair area. These are from the Moana furniture sets, and I just love how this looks with the really nice cozy gazebo things over them. I don't know what you'd call them, parasols maybe, to make a little kind of sunbathing area. Then on the opposite side, as you can see, we've obviously got our food tables, we've got a little ice cream stand and some lighting to welcome you into the tea house. And then on the tables I've added in a bunch of summery food. As you can see, Merlin is currently showing off, as well as some little candle tea lights to make this really quaint and cozy area to hang out and enjoy something in the summer heat. As we continue down the path, we've obviously got the lake on the left, which I just love how this fills this spot, and I added a lot of foliage around it, as you can see, to obviously blend it in, make it feel a lot more tropical and wild. And I just love having this feature here. I just feel like it looks like somewhere the people who are camping here would go and swim in the lake. Then as we head down, we've got obviously our more kind of upscale touristy area is kind of what I describe this as. So we've got the lost and found little gift shop, we've got Scar's Law, which has got a bunch of fish on it, we've also got the new tiki little bar, as well as the beach house. I wanted this to feel like maybe people who would come to this campsite who are a bit more posh and a bit more upscale would stay in this beach house rather than in a tent, and this is more of that kind of touristy area. That was the vibe I wanted to go for. Continuing through there, we obviously then get to more of the natural campsite and campground area. So I've obviously done a path to lead into there, which I made quite small, just so it kept the areas feeling very separate. And then in here we have got the 4 craftable tents from Eternity Isle with a bunch of beachy items around, a lot of clutter, as well as obviously the bonfire in the middle with the chairs around it, and then obviously the big projector screen at the back. I really wanted this area to feel like a place where families would come and stay, and it's very kind of cozy and rustic, so that was what I wanted to do. And then the final section that obviously we can head through to is where we have got the brand new campers. I've added both of them in both of the colours, as well as Buzz's RV, to create kind of maybe where people who own these campers would come and drive here, and this is where they would stay. So it kind of left the whole island in 3 different sections for 3 different types of campers and 3 different types of tourists. And this one obviously, as you can see, has got the barbecue with all the food on the table and a little board game on there. We've got a bathtub area with some towels hanging out to dry from where people have been visiting the beach, and obviously enjoying themselves. And then obviously we have got the pathway that leads to the final beachy section, which, as you can see through here, is kind of this private secluded beach area where we've got the lifeguard tower and the sunbathing lounges for people to come and hang out and enjoy the waterfront. We've got obviously an ice cream stand or a little refreshments crate, and then also a little hammock at the side and a little makeshift sandcastle to finish up. So here are some shots of the final island. As I said, it did cover pretty much 80%, I'd say, of this island. There was only the back right corner that I didn't decorate. I definitely could have. I think I could have made it into maybe more of like an upscale resort area using a lot of the items we got from Oasis Retreat, such as that resort building we got. but I felt like I was happy with how this looked. But I do think that is something you could definitely add if you did want to kind of create this yourself or have it be a more permanent fixture on this island. But I will eventually be moving a lot of this camping stuff over to my Dazzle Beach and doing this build but in a much smaller scale. So this was a nice trial run for me to kind of see how it worked and if I ended up liking it, which I do. But I hope you guys also liked it. Let me know down below if you did pick up these 2 camper vans in the premium shop, and if you have chosen where you're going to put them in your valley or decorated with them yet. I'd love to know. Make sure you like and subscribe if you did enjoy and you want to see more from me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.